evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, we are live from the MotorLand Aragon as we will see round number 2 here for the CSRL season number 13 GT3 series, and should be a good one here. A track that is kind of newer to the service. We've seen it, once or twice maybe here on CRN, but it is it's a little tricky. It's not like some of the tracks that these drivers are used to. Certainly, I'm sure a lot of drivers out here getting out there, getting used to it, maybe a little bit for the first time, but puts on some pretty good racing. So we'll see what we got in store here tonight. Carl Hainworth joined in the booth by Jimmy Cover. Jimmy, we've had a little bit of time here, track time, to kind of learn this track. I know we've been here with the LMP2s, but what do you think this track's going to offer here tonight?
It's going to offer speed, lots and lots of speed, and then don't miss your braking point and turn. This track has a lot of areas that kind of get these cars kind of way up to speed, get some drafting in, especially way down that back stretch before they have to go into a little bit of a technical area. And some of those corners are pretty tight, probably tighter than you think they are, and it's if you don't have much experience, it'll catch you off guard and you'll end up off in a kitty litter. So hope the drivers had enough time out here getting practice. As I do see, we have a fair amount of drivers out there still eluding the 40 car count. So a challenge still accepted to hit 40 car count and by 40 Racewear, and for each race that they hit 40, I heard rumor that they'll be raffling off a set of them good old shoes by our one of our sponsors here for CSRL. So looking forward to seeing if those drivers can actually hit those numbers, but we do have a good amount of numbers out here, 35 cars out here tonight. Looking forward to seeing what they can do.
It looks like qualifying is now finished up, so we'll get a quick rundown of tonight's starting order, and then we will we'll get to a couple interviews. We want to try and get in last season's championship winners here. If I can get the qualifying results up here, that would be nice. There we go. All right, so qualifying results and starting order for tonight is going to be Chris Hamilton on the pole by 15 hundredths of a second over Craig Jancic, Alex Zart, Mason Smith, Sivani Madrigal, Billy Wright, Tyler Torville, Bryce Reiner, Jonathan Ogden, and Trent Blaylock for your top 10. Come on. On our way through there. There we go. From 11th to 20th, we got Herbert Pineda, Cesar Colon Torres, Anthony Hutchinson, Christian Torres, Stephen McLean, Bevan McCombs, Devin Young, Dave Tilford, Jim Dutton, and Todd Torville for your top 20. John Espada, Dan Morera, Glenn Lazan, Michael Larch, Brandon Powell, Sean Wiley, Jason Potts, Alex Diaz, William Burrell, and Jim Herrick for your top 30. And then your last 5 on the grid are going to be Brandon Potts, Jay Little, Stephen Price, Dean Gagliano, and then with no time starting in the back, Braxton Jarrett. We'll see if the 35 is actually, or the one is going to be out there here tonight. But good 35 car field here, and ready to get some racing action here. But before we do, and while these guys are taking their warm up lap around the track, going to bring in last season's champions, and that's going to be from last year. We just had the Pro and the Am if you're new here to CSRL, but we did have 2 different champions here, and we got them in the booth for us here tonight. Craig Jancic, driver of the number 88, and Cesar Colon Torres, driver of the 007. So guys, we'll start with you first, Craig. I mean, another championship under the belt. Certainly, it got a little bit easier as the season went on. It was a little rough there at the beginning, but kind of give us a recap of last season and kind of your outlook on this season here.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome here to wonderful Aragon, somewhere in Spain. I think it's near the Valencia coast, but we'll see what goes on with that. Last season was pretty, I mean, I think Caesar can attest to this too, but it was pretty much Mustang Cup for myself. I ran the Lambo for 2 races, and its rear tire degradation was just unusable. So I had to go with Mustang choice for every other race, and clearly it paid off. I mean, it was a really fun championship stretch there. A lot of high horsepower, high speed tracks, which under that balance of performance last season was really friendly to the good old American horses. And Who's to say? Maybe the Mustang is my second car this season too. Who's really to say?
I guess stay tuned and find out. I mean, that's what you got to do. That's a good way. Exactly. Well, Caesar, we'll switch over to you. Obviously, it was a tough battle that went all the way down to the final race, but you end up getting it done. Anthony Hutchinson missed a couple races, certainly helped out, but it doesn't matter. You get the championship either way, and you finally get to see your name on one of those beautiful trophies. So, give us an idea of what last season was like, and what you have to look forward to for this season.
Yeah, much like he said, it was a big battle of the Stangs. It felt like for a while until, well, without Anthony there, it was a big battle of the Stang. With that, Anthony, he would just run away. So luckily he wasn't in our favor. Wasn't there for a couple of those races. He's here today, so we're gonna have to probably get into a little bit of a battle with him, see him again. But it was just a really fun time last season. Like Craig said, in the Stang. I brought it back again. It's my primary car. So hopefully these horses still got some room to roam, excuse me, and we can get out here and take another championship.
Well, certainly we've seen a lot of the 88s at the front of the field, and giving a shout out to your passing dog, and it was certainly a good send off season for you last season, Craig. But got to talk about you, Caesar, because tonight, unless my trading paints are not working, I don't see the teeth on that thing. Is that the original Mustang? Is that still in the dentist's office after last week?
Yeah, I did change it a little. I accidentally messed it up and made it black, took the teeth off, and now I failed it before I could fix it, and now we're here with what I got. I don't know what it looks like actually myself.
All right, boys, we'll give you a quick second here to give any shout outs before we let you get back into the race. We're going to start here soon, so Caesar, we'll keep it with you. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
Hey, shout out to you guys, shout out to everyone that hosts this league, everyone in these races. It's a pleasure being here, and it's a pleasure to have every time this participation is better and better, and the racing gets cleaner and cleaner. So I feel so honored to be here, so thank you guys.
All right, Craig, we'll finish up with you. Who do you want to give a shout out to?
My friends, my family, Team Coffee Sim Performance, Digital Sim Sports, everybody that shows up for this league, the admin team. That's the best way to spend your Wednesday nights.
All right, boys, well, good luck out there. I know you're coming around the final corner, so hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of this race, but either way, have a good one out there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
That is driver of the 88, Craig Jancic. As I throw the wrong person out of the booth there. I threw Jimmy out of the booth there for a second, but also the driver of the the 007 Caesar Clone Torres. But we've got a green flag here at Aragon. They're starting to spread out 3, 4, 5 wide, heading into turn number 1. As it is shockingly, and maybe it's what we got to do more often. Maybe we got to bring Craig Jancic in for the interview. Because this could be the first time in quite a long time we don't see that 88 leading through turn 1. Maybe Chris going to work a little bit, doing his homework here, and the 64 is going to lead going through the first few corners.
Yeah, I think maybe we got him gun shy there, got his nerves in a bunch there, but Chris Hamilton able to get on the pole and possibly lead the first lap. It ain't over yet, as they still have to come down to these little I guess, chicane, bus stop, downhill kind of type of area and get this huge run down into the final turn.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a little mini corkscrew coming down through there, and it's one thing that maybe wasn't talked about is some of these corners here can be really blind, just coming down off the corner, especially right there, kind of at the top of the faux corkscrew. But long gas section here as you come around out of the little S-turn section, the little hairpin. You come all the way from there, all the way down to the next, if you want to consider this a hairpin here at the end, the final corner here, and almost kind of like a little double corner to finish off the lap here. As you see Hamilton getting into it right now, but you're coming through there with a ton of speed. Good chance for maybe a little bit of drafting, and then you got a little bit of a straightaway, and then just a little kink to head you back onto the front stretch. But Chris Hamilton going to lead the way for lap number 1 here. Craig Jancic, Alex Zart for your top 3 in the overall and platinum. Then leading in the gold division right now, Tyler Torville is in there, and got some shuffling right there behind him. But Tyler Torville is your leader in the gold class. Jonathan Ogden in second. Caesar Clone Torres back there in third, battling with Anthony Hutchinson. In the silver, up here in 11th, Trent Playlock a good start for him. Once again, he's up here in 12th. The next closest Silver Division driver back in 16th is Bevan Combs, and then back in 20th is Todd Torville. So either way, a good start. Very little incidents here to start. We'll take a look at one here, as it looks like Devin Young, we'll see where he went off track here. Maybe gets a little bit of a shove and then goes sideways and backs it into the wall. And shockingly, the wing is still on, I think. I'm actually surprised that the wing stayed on. It seems like you breathe on the back end of these cars, and that spoiler wants to fall off, but must have been damaged enough that he ended up towing it back to the pits.
Yeah, I got a little PTSD from last weekend as spinning the Corvette around and getting in the back of the walls. It wasn't my favorite thing to do, but yeah, a little out there in the key litter and unable to collect it. So unfortunate there for obviously that team. So we'll see what they can do, get that fast repair, get it back out, but obviously going to be down just a little bit from that. So.
In the lead, you see a bit of a breakaway here, maybe from the top 4 cars here. Actually, maybe 6 cars involved in a bit of a breakaway here. But all in all, I got to say, sometimes we've seen it. You come to these tracks where drivers don't know it that well, and certainly they put in the practice to get to know it, get to understand it, but they're maybe still not comfortable fully with the track itself, and sometimes it takes them a little bit to really start getting aggressive, and that can lead to some cleaner driving here. But we'll take a look, maybe another incident here, possibly with Jim Dutton and Bevan McCombs coming into turn number 1 here. That is a spicy sausage right there on the inside of turn number 1, and Jim Dutton trying to take a big bite out of it, and then someone almost took a big bite out of him. But either way, he's going to get back going. Lost a ton of spots there, and unfortunately, Bevan lost a few as well. But all in all, I think they both come out of that pretty clean, considering.
It was a little scary there to hit that inside curve, man. Just toss that car like a salad and send him flying, and just get it up off in the kitty litter, kind of just waiting. Obviously, maybe saying some few choice words out there, and then obviously almost getting his front end taken off as he sits there and waits, and somebody else made a slight mistake too. But you can see that right there to his left, it's
one just little. That's like a little sausage link. It's not even a full sausage curve, but you see, that's not exactly what you want to see. You don't want to be bicycling the Mustang around these corners, but yeah, not exactly a fun ride there for Mr. Jim Dutton. But we'll get you back to live action here as Chris Hamilton leads the way. Jancic, Zart, Smith, and Madrigal for your top 5. But you see Alex Zart starting to get maybe a little bit racy there with Craig Jancic, trying to make a move as the man and the Mustang, or the Mercedes up here, trying to put the moves on the McLaren. And one thing I do see, Jimmy, as I see a lot of different cars and makes out here once again, we do see finally, Ferrari getting a little love. The Ferrari out front right now. It seems like forever since we've seen the Ferrari out on the track in the GT3s, and just got done talking about it as we're starting to try and figure out our car for the spot 24. Love to see that Ferrari start to get some love again, and right now it's out front. We also do have Jonathan Ogden, 2nd place in the gold. He's in the Ferrari, but I mean, I'm seeing McLaren, I'm seeing Mercedes, BMW, Porsche. Looks like Corvette out there, Ford, obviously, Acura. I don't see Lamborghini. I think is the only one maybe I don't see, but pretty much all the makes and models out there represented, and maybe a little battle going into the final corner here as Jancic closes in. Late dive to the inside here of Chris Hamilton. See if he's going to make it stick on the inside. Remember, a long sweeping corner here, and then a little kink to finish it out, and right now Hamilton is going to hold serve.
Yeah, it's, you can get in that inside like Craig did right there, but in order to not get into your competitor on the outside, you got to kind of let up just a little bit longer, and you lose a lot of time, Carl. It's one of those corners that it's actually better to run almost the outside, middle outside, in order to get the max amount of speed to that corner. That's why Chris was able to kind of hold that position and try and make it work. So it's gonna be a difficult one there for the inside without taking your competitor out and doing a door slam or something. So Chris is gonna have his hands full though, for sure. as Craig Jansen. That's just SDK moving around.
Yeah, little slide here, little spin here for Brandon Potts. But luckily, he's got enough room to kind of maneuver that Mustang and get it back on track and back in the running, but certainly lost quite a few spots and now is, looks like second last in the running order. It looks like, I believe, Devin Young is back out there. Quite a ways back though right now, and certainly maybe just getting out there to get some laps in. But again, another battle here down the backstretch. This time Hamilton is protecting the inside, but Jimmy, I don't know if that's the right idea. As you just mentioned, that outside line kind of seems where you want to be, but Hamilton's going to have the inside here. We'll see if Jancic maybe tries the undercut right here through the little kink. And Jancic's trying to keep it wound up as he's now going to look to the outside down the front stretch. Again, Hamilton's going to have the inside, but I think Alex Zart back there doesn't mind this battle at all. He's going to try and stick his nose in there and maybe get up here in the mix.
Yeah, and you can see Chris giving him, obviously giving his competitor just that little bit of room, just in case he was able to get in the inside. But this constant good driving between these leaders here as they continue to battle for the overall lead here with the platinum drivers, and I just they're continuing to show that some top-notch driving, and last week it was all Mason Smith tailing Craig Jancic around by Watkins Glen, but here he's not far away. He's also just kind of sitting back, maybe fuel saving a little bit. You never know, he's in a good spot, maybe not in the spot to make a pass, but maybe in a spot to maybe save that little bit of fuel. Let off a little bit earlier, anything to get that advantage when it comes to the pits, because it could mean Mason going from fourth to first with a great pit stop.
You see how long they are on the gas all the way around this corner, all the way down the back stretch, and you see that thing still not winding out. They're coming downhill right now, so they're pulling some major speed coming down in here. We'll get to the dashboard on next time, but side by side for the lead. Hamilton trying to get plenty of room as they go through the sweeping left-hand corner and now through the kink. Now this time Jancic is going to have the edge as he's going to have the inside line into turn number 1. And we'll see if Hamilton got anything to fight back. If he can hang on the outside, he'll have the inside for turn number 2, and he's going to stick it there. He's going to stay to the inside, and Hamilton maybe getting a little tired of Jancic passing him by one point or another. He's going to hold on to the position, but now Jancic with the crossover, he's going to have the outside line again as these guys battle back and forth. Hamilton stays on the inside. He's going to get the little better rotation, but now Jancic back to the inside, back and forth. Crossovers, undercuts. It's going to be tough here for Hamilton now to hold on. It's going to get shoved to the outside as Zart tries to get involved in that one as well. And Hamilton, whether he's angry or not sure, as Mason Smith says it there on the inside, maybe catching Zart off guard a little bit. They're going to go side by side out of what's essentially what I consider the penultimate corner, even though you got a long sweeping corner here to end out the lap, but Zart is going to hold on, and this is allowing Simeone Madrigal to kind of reel himself back into this mix. He was falling back a little bit, about a second and a half behind these guys. He's now right back in the tow, and it's once again a 5-car breakaway.
Yeah, and away they go. I mean, they're going to continue to battle like this. We're early on here. We're only 11 minutes in for 45 minutes. Fuel should be right around 15, 16 laps or something like that, so obviously we'll be looking for that pit stop to see who's going to stretch it out, who's going to stay out, who's going to come in early and try and undercut if they can run some faster laps. And it's kind of one thing we see at the front, the continuing battle, and I'd be wondering if somebody like Mason Smith or somebody like that, if they pitted early and had a cleaner racetrack, but everybody's starting to get spread out here just a little bit. Some drivers obviously maybe newer to track, having a little bit of, a few incidents here and there, an off track or slow down. I think most of everything I got here testing was just off tracks. I don't remember getting any slow downs, and I was cutting some corners pretty dang good just to kind of give it a test here this afternoon. But great racing all throughout the field here. Your leaders hit Hamilton over Jancic for the platinum, and Ogden there over Torville for gold, and then back there for silver is Blaylock at 13.
Well, I think the problem with cutting some of these corners is you have such big rumble strips. You see, on the inside of this corner, that's probably the only spot where there's not really anything waiting to bite you. But you see on the inside of the final corner, you got just that sausage link is what I'm going to call it, just a little dot of a sausage. But you see what can happen when you hit it. When Jim Dutton hit it out of turn number 1, big shunt and sent that thing bicycling through turn number 1. So you don't want to hit it in turn 1 or in the final corner. But you also see those big red sausages on the inside too, and they may not, kind of flip your car up and over to the side, but you're not going to gain any time by going up and over them, so you really got to avoid that one as well. You see here, you can kind of take it to the inside quite a bit, but right here in the final corner, you see that little dot right there. That is a dot of death. You don't want to touch that thing.
Yeah, you want to stay off that, of course, but yeah, you can kind of get off the, most of the car you can get off on the rumble strips. And a lot of the corners, Carl, actually, it benefits. It helps turn the car, so getting off on them, using all of the track, and that's what you see a lot of these leaders or a lot of these groups are running pretty much the same line, and they're trying to get everything. And that's pretty much how you need to race most of these tracks is, using as much track and cutting, within limits, where you can. So you get the better times, you get the better runs, and just a lot of fun. But this is a nice gaggle of drivers right here.
Yeah,
as you're on board with Brandon Powell.
This is that mid-pack hornet's nest that you're always talking about, Jimmy, and it's certainly right back here, battling just outside the top 20 right now as you're right on board with Brandon Powell, looking up at Todd Torville, Michael Larch, Jim Herrick up there as well, and then even Glenn Lazan. And if you haven't seen that mirror finish Mustang up there just yet, he's up there running in 20th. So 20th through 25th here, as right behind Brandon Powell here is quite a few other cars as excuse me, Bevan McCombs back there. Looks like something happened here with Jonas, but I don't know, maybe just blinking out as he was dropping through the field, but he's back up there now. But all in all, again, I mean, really one kind of major mistake from Devin Young as he towed it back to the pits. He's back out there on the track, but all 35 cars still out there running, and time's kind of ticking away here. We're already a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, it does. Time does fly when you're having fun, for sure. And it's one of those, this track, like I said, it has a lot of high speeds, especially down that back straightaway. And it does look like Chris Hamilton has been able to get back to the front here over Jancic. And then Alex Zard is still sitting there in P3. Mason Smith in 4th, and Savani back there in 5th. So tight running by these drivers. That was Bryce up 2 spots, but back just a little ways, so maybe not quite as comfortable. Well, he's up 2 spots, so he had to start back just a little bit farther. So waiting to see the showing of Bryce Reiner as definitely came on strong at the end of the last season. So hoping to see that car back up front here sometime soon this season.
We'll try and bring up the standings from after race number 1. Don't want to block any of the racing here so far, so we'll bring it up just over top of the standings so far, the in-race standings, so you can take a look at what we have through race number 1. And you see it is silver leader is Trent Blaylock over Eric Black and Todd Torville, both tied for 2nd. Jay Little and Bill Burrell tied for 4th. In the gold, and it's Brandon Powell, Cesar Colon Torres, David Tilford, Tyler Torville, and Stephen McLean for the top 5. In the platinum, Craig Jansen getting the win last week over Mason Smith, Chris Hamilton, Siviani Madrigal, and Bryce Reiner for your top 5. So still, it's only race 1, and things can certainly shake out. But already seeing some of the names that we would kind of expect, some of those top names being up there and at the mix. And good to see the man that we're kind of watching right now, Siviani Madrigal, kind of getting back in it, getting his feet wet here, and running again up here in the top 5, just kind of tailing these guys right now. We have seen Siviani kind of do this more often than not, just kind of hangs back there. A lot of times it was back there behind Craig Jansen, Chris Hamilton, or Craig Jansen, and and Bryce Reiner just kind of running back there in third, waiting to pounce or waiting to that first pit stop to get in there and really kind of mix things up. But good to see him up there in the number 8, but he is running back there in 5th behind Hamilton, Jancic, Zart, and Smith. Going back to your gold division leader, kind of leading this, or second running in this next little breakaway here is Jonathan Ogden, doing a good job here. Qualified in 9th, up 1 position right now. And then Tyler Torville, a couple cars back, is in 2nd. Cesar Colon Torres, Anthony Hutchinson, and Dave Tilford for your top 5 in the gold. In the silver, it is still Trent Playlock. Lost 4 positions from the start up there in P10, so another good qualifying effort from the 3. But back to 14th currently, still got a 4-car gap in between him and Alex Diaz now in 2nd in the silver. Todd Torville, Bevan McCombs, Braxton Jarrett for your top 5 in the silver, but out front, still Chris Hamilton leading the way.
They've been great racing up here so far. Obviously, the nose to tail and plenty of racing to go, and maybe obviously the tires start to warm up. A lot of pressure on a lot of these cars, yeah. Because Chris really slinging around that new tire model here, getting them warmed up, and curious to see how each car does, and Chris does a really good job usually maintaining his tires and using them when he needs to. And right now, just trying to figure it out. And hopefully he can land that pit stop and at least be the same as everybody else and not lose that huge time. That's been a big problem for the 64 has been the pit stop, and not necessarily getting in the pits, just
staying in there too long. Staying in there too long is a problem. He gets too comfortable just sitting there dormant, I guess. I don't know what it is, but we see another battle going into the final corner. A couple battles as both Jancic and Hamilton were looking to go too wide, and Alex Zart and Mason Smith were, for a brief moment, too wide. But everything going to straighten back out here again. Again, it's a 5-car breakaway. They've got 8.5 seconds between them and right here, the man leading that second. Little charge here between Bryce Reiner and Billy Wright in 6th and 7th. And then he got a 1.5 seconds back to Jonathan Ogden leading the gold and the third little breakaway. But it's been a good race so far. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe and get you in touch with everything that Syrian has to offer. I want to send an early, happy 4th of July to everyone out there. Happy holidays. Hopefully you get out there with the family. Exactly, and enjoy some festivities, as it's definitely one of my favorite holidays.
And that's nothing against any of the other countries at all, because Canada Day was just on the 1st. That's their special day for the month, so we'll shout out to them as well, along with our overseas drivers as well. I mean, everybody gets their own days and own little holidays, but it will be obviously our big holiday weekend here. I know things are shaping up, especially around the neighborhood. Flags are out and whatnot. I got some sort of local parade in the neighborhood they're supposed to do with the kids and whatnot. But one thing, Carl, that I don't like is I was cleaning off my back porch and one of the legs on my grill broke. So now I have to go out and get another grill.
That's a party foul from the grill. I mean, that's it right there.
But so yeah, now I need to do some little research, maybe find out which one I want, and hopefully I get something. And it has to be in stock, and getting stuff in stock in the store is sometimes a pain in the butt.
I was gonna say, I mean, I guess it depends on how much you wanted a new grill. I mean, maybe that leg wink broke on its own. And all of a sudden, oh God, sorry babe, I guess we need a new grill. Oh no.
Oh no. They didn't get one for Father's Day. Because that's when I used to get one.
Well, we did have a change of lead here once again, as we'll take a look back and see how it happened. This is through turn number 1. Jansen gets a heck of a rotation through the corner and keeps it wide open on the outside there, makes the pass, moves himself into first, but that's not all that happened. We'll keep an eye on it here. Not sure if Hamilton had to slow down or what the case was, but he went from first back to 4th. Zart and Smith make the pass as well. You see Madrigal trying to get up there and make a move as well. So it almost seems like that 64 maybe had a slowdown at some point. But either way, Craig Jancic, now your new leader.
I'm kind of curious if, because we've seen how hard Chris was driving that 64 for that Ferrari, and we were talking a little bit with Craig prior to his little interview, and he said how the McLaren just got faster over time, and I'm wondering if the tire model was starting to give on the Ferrari just a little bit, because Chris was really driving the heck out of that machine, some inside lines, defending lines, and maybe just decided to, let me kind of fall back a little bit and see if these other drivers will put a little pressure on Craig and have him make a mistake, take the pressure off himself for a little while. So give him a chance to relax. 20 minutes still remaining, plenty of time to kind of get them positions back. But you can see how hard it's been in the past, and these drivers are just all so very close in talent. Where they're all just kind of all five of them are looking to just continue to pull away from the rest of the field.
We got a chance. We are about halfway through. We did see some pit stops starting to commence already. We got maybe 4 or 5 drivers that came into the pits, but I think it's time we listen to these engines roar here a little bit around MotorLand Aragon, as it looks like Craig Jancic now with that clean air on the McLaren starting to check out. So we'll go ahead and listen to his engine, see how these cars sound out here with a little CRN. I'd love to hear it. Sights and sounds of the CSRL GT3 series here at MotorLand Aragon as we head into the final third of this race. Craig Jancic and all the rest of the field have made their one and only pit stop for the race, and it's got Jancic a 1.5 second lead here over Mason Smith. Chris Hamilton able to use the pit stop to gain a couple of spots, actually a spot back, as he got out in front of Alex Zart. They both got right up there with Siviani Madrigal. Hamilton was able to get around Madrigal as he came out of the pits. Zart back now into 5th, but still only about 7 seconds covering the top 5 right now this late in the race. It's good seeing here, but certainly I'm sure Jancic looking to get through this traffic here and not have any kind of worries, as he doesn't want the same thing to happen to him as did in race number 1, and that was just Mason Smith all over his back door for pretty much the entire race, as looks like Mason's trying his best here to get up there. He's finally gotten around a few of his competitors, mainly Alex Zart and Chris Hamilton. He's gotten that car up into 2nd, but now he's got to figure out a way to run down that 88.
Yeah, he's got to take time, and he knows obviously what Craig is capable of, as he chased him last week, ended up finishing 1-2, and so obviously Craig was able to get around Chris, and then obviously Mason was able to get around Chris as well. So Chris moving back into P number 3 over Savani, so a little better of a pit stop this week, but gaining 1 position, but not gaining any time on Craig Jancic, as he is 3 seconds back from the leader. Last week he was 8.
A little battle brewing here between a lap car as well, but between Dave Tilford there on the left in the Acura and Herbert Pineda on the right in the McLaren, the purple McLaren, side by side down the backstretch here. This is a battle for 7th and 8th, but mainly for Dave Tilford. I know he wants to get out there. I know he wants to finish as high as he can, but right now he's got that number 12 in the top spot for the gold division, as he's gotten around Tyler Torville, who is right behind him. You see in that BMW, and then right behind him is Cesar Colon Torres and the newly painted Mustang there in the 007. So the top 3 in gold running right behind each other. But then over in the silver, still a pretty good dominating performance here from Trent Blaylock, as he is up here in 11th overall, only 1 spot down from a starting spot, but leading the silver division by, well, double his position. 2nd place in the silver division is down in 22nd, and that is Jason Potts, which I'm sure Potts is more than happy to be 2nd in the division, but he's so far back right now from Trent Blaylock. It's actually a 35-second gap between the 1st place in the silver and 2nd place in the silver. So I'm wondering if Blaylock may be kind of running his way to a battlefield promotion here in the number 3, but we'll see how everything transpires. 3rd place in the silver is going to go right now to Todd Torville, but time is starting to tick down here. Really not too many battles out there on the track right now. One of the closer ones here, we took a look in on Michael Larch and the 28 Corvette, and then right behind him in the Acura is the 57 of Jason Potts. Not for class position right now, as Larch in the gold and Potts in the silver, but this is certainly for points, and Potts is going to dive it in there and move himself up into 21st.
Yeah, great racing throughout the track. I mean, I'm just amazed on how well these drivers are doing. Obviously, big focus on the beginning, as they were pretty tight, but obviously loosening up just a little bit here. But still good battles back in P10 and P14, and it looks like back there in P22 as well. So some good battles floating all over the place, and maybe SDK let me down here.
Well, this is Jonathan Ogden having a bit of an issue here earlier. Yep, at replay here, as a little bit of a spin here, as he was leading the gold division for a little bit, but now he finds himself back in 18th overall, 9th in the gold division, as the second half of the race not working out too well for him. But I mean, Jimmy, at the end of the day, we started with 35. We still got 35 cars running on a track, again, that isn't used that often. Yeah, it's got some, pretty wide runoffs for the most part. If you make a mistake, unless you kind of loop it to the inside, like right here out of turn number 1, and it shoots to the inside barrier right there, you're probably not going to get into too much trouble. So I can understand why maybe you're not seeing too many damaged cars, but I mean, even off tracks, you're not seeing that many off tracks guys running wide or sliding out there or getting in the grass, anything like that. So a hell of a job from everybody out here.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed. It's like I said, it can be a tricky track, and there's obviously a nice long backstretch. It's fun to get all that speed, but how you handle that speed going into that corner is it takes a little bit, and it's a lot of paying attention to those boards on the far right side, or maybe a white line or something, a landmark, trying to figure out what works best for you, and and then what works best for you if you're in traffic. What if you're on somebody's back bumper, or whatever, or if it's raining. Heaven forbid it was dark, and there's a lot of things that can come obstacle, but obviously in the middle of the day, so a lot of the drivers using boards and lines all over the place, and you see the white lines over there on the far right side, just outside of that red and yellow curbing.
Battle here as Jim Dutton going to move himself up into 22nd position. Not sure what happened to Billy right here, as he may have blinked out and may have had some major issues here. Now it looks like now he's just coming back, but he has fallen pretty far back through the field now, as he's back in 17th position. He was up there just outside the top 10 earlier, but he is your second last running platinum driver, as unfortunately Devin Young had that incident earlier on in the race, having to tow back to pit lane. Is still showing way back in 34th position, second last in the field. But again, I think it's a really good showing from everybody out here, doing a fine job here. Again, race number 2 for these boys here in the CSRL GT3 series, and it's a good looking schedule ahead. Certainly some fan favorites coming up in the schedule, some tracks that everyone knows and loves, but certainly some new ones coming in there as well. As we got another ticket to pit lane, as it looks like Devin Young maybe bringing it in, maybe calling it a night, but out front, Craig Jansek certainly not calling it a night at all. It was 3.4 seconds now, the gap between him and Chris Hamilton, as we'll take a look and show you how Hamilton made the pass here for second place on Mason Smith. Maybe a bit of a surprise right here for Mason, as didn't think that Chris was going to make that pass to the inside. Makes it stick, and now we'll see back live if Mason Smith can try and mount a charge here on Hamilton down the backstretch.
Yeah, Chris has been able to push that car to the limits here tonight, and I think what we've seen in the beginning and why he lost the lead was maybe just overdriving, those tires just a little bit. But here trying to do an inside line, defending against Mason there on the outside, and got to get it to stick, and he's gonna get that run here, use those curves as much as possible. It'll kind of push Mason out to the outside, but still gonna be a drag race down turn number 1. Has position, as he does have the inside in.
Seemed like Mason tried to roll up, wasn't sure if he was going to go for the crossover or just stay to the outside. He stays to the outside, and he's going to make the pass as he clears just ever so slightly Hamilton heading into turn number 3, and he's got that McLaren back up into second place. So good driving there by Mason Smith to make the pass, move himself back up there. Another battle back a little bit further here in the pack between second and third place in the gold division. You see right there Cesar Colon Torres going by Tyler Torville, but now Torville going to fight back on the outside, trying to make it the hard way around here. He's going to have the outside here once again. We'll see if he goes for the crossover. A little touch of the sausage there. You don't want to do that, especially while you're driving, as it's going to upset the car here a little bit for Colon Torres. And he's still going to hang on to the position, but you see you get out of position on one of these corners here. A lot of these corners really chain together, and you kind of make one little mistake, and you really got to figure out a way to kind of find that groove once again.
Yeah, I mean, every driver's out here trying to do something a little bit different. It gets pretty easy, or I can't say easy, but like you people kind of get in that groove, you know, trying to run, you know, the race line. So what do you do when you need to pass somebody? I'm one of those people that kind of go out there and I will run everything but the race line when I'm practicing because I want to know how I need to drive the car with other cars around me. So if I have to run on the outside, you know, how much slower do I need to go? If I need to run on the inside, what do I need to do so the car don't drift out? So those are a lot of things that I do personally when I'm practicing a track. Is basically I will go around every single corner, not on the race line, to see how well the car performs in an off situation. Because you know, you get moments like this, you know, you might know that this one corner, this off on the line here, but if I run it right here, maybe it's a little bit better, or I can at least defend, or you know, I can get that pass in. Because a lot of what you're seeing right now is a lot of people showing that inside move, you know, and then making the dive in the corner and hoping that the driver that you dove in on, you know, gives room and is able to keep it, you know, a clean race. And here at CSRL, you don't have that problem. The drivers really do a fantastic job of trying to keep the cars off each other and being able to make those late dives and whatnot. So I mean, that you really don't have a problem here. But when you get in the officials, you know, people aren't as friendly.
No,
you know,
that's put it mildly.
It's a virtual car, you know. So you know, and then people start trading words back and forth, and next thing you know, you get yourself a little free vacation from iRacing. You know, whether it's you can't race officials, or you can't talk in voice no more. I mean, there's all kinds of things. iRacing does do a pretty decent job, not that you think it was fair, but they do review things that are submitted by other drivers to kind of keep players at bay, from cheating and doing stuff, silly stuff, like going out there and wrecking somebody on purpose, or they're at a standing start and the guy just drives through like 6 drivers and just wrecks like half the field. I mean, it's amazing, some of the things. There's some great videos out there by a lot of other YouTube channels, showing like idiots of the week and stuff like that.
They're only good because we're not involved in them. It's what it is. We can sit back and that looks funny, and then until you see your car like this guy. Well, we're about to wind this thing up here. We got 2 minutes left in this race, and I believe, depending on when Craig Jansen crosses this line here, should be seeing the white flag this time by as he heads on to the backstretch. He's got a 5-second lead now over Hamilton, who's had his hands full with Mason Smith. He's seen him make the pass to get back into second place. Savini Madrigal in third, Savini Madrigal in fourth, Alizart in fifth. Dave Tilford, Cesar Colon Torres, Tyler Torville for your top 3 in the gold. We're watching that battle, as well as Colon Torres makes the pass once again on Tyler Torville to move into second in class. Trent Blaylock still up there in the lead here for the silver class. Looks like the most of class leader, so we'll bring that up here again. But you see the white flag on the left-hand side. 1 more lap to go here as Jansic takes the white flag, looking to go back-to-back to start season 13.
Yeah, it's impressive, and obviously some stiff competition up front early on, and been able to kind of break away with his excellent pit stops. Obviously, he's aggressive. There's some drivers involved there, but it was a great aggressive driving at the beginning, keeping things super close, and then being able to use the pit stop to kind of break free. Oh, and a little spin out there by Ferrari.
And that's that's we've seen there. Jonathan Ogden certainly not having the second half that he envisioned, as slipping back a little bit further through the field. But you've seen Dave Tilford leading the way here in the gold. Trent Blaylock back here in 11th, just outside the top 10. Another fantastic run for the 3 here. But out front, it is Jansen coming down onto the backstretch one more time. He's got plenty of room to play with. He's kind of in the mix here. A little battling going on in front of him, as apparently this is where all the vets have been hanging out back here, as he's got Michael Larch and Sean Wiley in front of him right now, battling for 26th and 27th, but he can just hang back here. He's got enough of a buffer, 5.2 seconds back to Hamilton and Smith, who certainly have their own battle going on here. And this is going all the way down to the end. I don't think Mason's close enough. Indeed, he's not. Jancic going to be your winner here tonight. It's coming out of the final corner. Watching this battle here to the line. And Hamilton just going to hold off Mason Smith. You see Smith kind of giving the little driver salute there to him, as that was a great battle all the way to the line. Siviani Madrigal, a good finish there, going to come home in fourth. Alex Zart sliding back a little bit after starting in third, but still a top 5 finish overall, so good job from him. Coming out of the final corners here, Tilford trying to make the pass to get up here into 7th position, but he's going to either way come home with an 8th and a class win here for the 12. So we had to talk to him after the race. Trent Blaylock coming around the final corners here and going to grab himself a class win here tonight as well. Coming home with a very nice 11th place finish as these drivers finish up. And again, Jimmy, I gotta say, I know we had a couple of drivers decide to call it quits here early on in the end of this race, but I mean, realistically, I can't believe how many of these drivers survived with little damage, let alone off tracks. I mean, it was a good, clean race out there.
Yeah, definitely a great clean race. And one person we forgot to mention, biggest mover of the race, is going to go to Jim Herrick, up 16 spots, Carl. Made it halfway through the field, so fantastic run by the 40. So we'll get a chance to talk to Jim. And your next person, biggest mover, or next person for that biggest mover would have been Dave Tilford, but also Dave winning the gold class tonight here at Aragon. So it's definitely, it was a great race, a lot of fun to watch. It's always fun to kind of get out on these different tracks and show the people out there what iRacing kind of has to offer for as far as track wise go.
We'll get to our interviews here in a bit, as we'll talk to the top finishers for each of the divisions, and then we'll talk to that hard charger as Jim Herrick, our sponsor, gonna get a little love from another sponsor, Chris Burrell, sponsoring the Hard Charger Award for this season. So congrats to Jim on that. But I mean, it'll just be good to finally to talk to Jim again. I know we're planning on talking to him later in the season, regardless, about 40 Racewear.com and everything that he's got going on. Certainly love those new trophies that started up last season, and he's really planning on doing them again for this season, and really cool looking. And I know the drivers that took them home for both the BMW series that they had here in CSRL, and also obviously the GT3 series are big fans of them. So we will we'll get to those here in a second, just trying to get everything wrapped up here, and then we'll get a final rundown. Looks like we are official now. So Jimmy, why don't you give us that final rundown of tonight's finishing order?
Yeah, final rundown of tonight's results is going to be Craig Jancic taking away the overall win over Christopher Hamilton, Mason Smith, Savani, Alex Zart for your top 5, and then Bryce Reiner, Herb Pineda, Dave Tilford, Cesar Colon Torres, and Tyler Torville for your top 10. And 11th is Trent Blaylock, Stephen McLean, Christian Torres, Jim Herrick's in 14th. Glenn Lazan will come home back in 15th. Anthony Hutchison, welcome back, finishing in 16th. Brandon Powell in 17th, Billy Wright's in 18th, Dan Marrera back there in 19th, Jonathan Ogden in 20th, Todd Torville, Jason Potts, Bevan McCombs, William Burrell, and Jim Dutton, after spinning out there early on, finishes in P25. Alex Diaz, Michael Larch, John Espada, Sean Wiley, Jay Little for your top 30, then Brandon Potts, Dean Gagliano, Stephen Price, Braxton Jarrett, and Devin Young for your 35 car field here at Aragon.
Really a shame, not the race that Devin Young certainly wanted to have here, but he's going to finish last in the field. And certainly same thing for Billy Wright, kind of slipped down the order there a little bit for those platinum drivers. But we've got our top drivers here tonight that we're going to talk to here in a second. Want to thank our sponsors first for the series, and again, I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. I can't thank sponsors enough. I mean, there's so much that goes on into putting these series on, and any little bit of help that, whether it's sponsor money, whether it's a trophy, whether it's helping out on the back end, like anything that can be helpful is definitely surely appreciated. And our two sponsors here for the season: 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. And then for Martin PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take that same methodology at Martin, from the engine PC to the chassis rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter. You deserve components that match your desire to compete. One more thing before we get to the interviews, we do have a special event coming up on CRN, and it was scheduled originally for the upcoming weekend. It's actually going to be moved to July 19th, but the CRN Cup is a special event that pits all of the drivers that you see on CRN in one race. Well, actually, two races, on oval and on road. So you'll see teams from CSRL, from VVR, from the Core Xfinity, Core GT, all the series that we broadcast, even the new ones, 191 Motorsports, Hold Your Brakes Academy. They're all going to be putting teams together to compete against each other, and kind of a little bit of a showcase as well for the leagues to kind of showcase what they got, and maybe cross intermingle, interleague kind of style play to to get drivers to know what other really good leagues are out there, because I sure we could pump up these leagues by saying, oh yeah, they're really good leagues because they're here on CRN, but we really feel that way. I mean, if we weren't up here broadcasting, I would easily join any of these leagues that we broadcast. I mean, whether it's CSRL here tonight, obviously Core, we'd be in those races if we weren't up there broadcasting. But I mean, 191, you name it. Any of these leagues that we have on CRN here, they're really good leagues. So if you're looking for something on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, I mean, you name it, we got it here. We got the right people here as well. But we got our top spots here tonight. So let's not waste any more time. We'll get to our top winners here tonight, and we'll start off with, as the screen just decides to go black on me, let's try and choose a different spot. About there we go.
Lights went out.
That's a little better right there. Even though it looks like the pit lap here for Craig Jansen. But there we go. So without further ado, we'll bring in tonight's winner here, and Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take the winner here tonight, the 88 of Craig Jansen.
Hey, Craig's Jimmy Carlton, booth to copy.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, welcome back to the booth. Another fantastic race. Had your hands full at the beginning of the race, and had to get up there, sniff the lead a little bit, and then lose it, and then kind of come back, settle down, and then after that pit stop, able to exercise, what you've come down to, you've been doing lately is just kind of killing it in the pits, giving you that nice advantage, leaving and putting yourself out to the front and able to get that clean air, nobody kind of around you, right on your bumper, harassing you, and able to kind of drive away to obviously a win here tonight. So I want to say congratulations and kind of get your side of the story and how things were out there for you tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what an intense first half of this race. Thank you for your well wishes as well. The intensity meter was on high. I mean, this new tire model is a challenge at a somewhat abrasive pavement like we have here at Aragon. And the first couple laps, I'm sure you guys caught me and Chris having mega slides for a couple of corners that you're not really expecting it. And then, once we built enough temperature, we started throwing haymakers at one another. I mean, crossing under in the last corner, every type of high limit, high risk racing, I think was on display here tonight. Realistically, by the whole pack, because I saw Mason throw a couple of dives at Alex there for third as well. So, yeah, the air conditioner couldn't keep me dry here tonight, man. I am wringing wet, and I'm a little. I won't lie to you. I'm a little smoked. There's not too many turns here at this track, but they're pretty tricky.
Yeah, definitely. When I got a chance to get out there, I found it challenging to make sure to hit the right spot to get close to what you guys were running. So I don't feel too bad since I don't get out on the track as often as y'all. But definitely a lot of fun, a lot of high speed, and some technical corners. And to see the battling throughout the field, obviously a testament to the league itself and all the drivers that are involved. So, but either way, you walk away as a back-to-back winner. That's 2 in a row. So what's your thoughts on next week, and can you do a three-peat?
What do we got next week? We going down to Brazil next week, I think, if my memory serves me.
I don't know 100%.
It's actually the opposite way. You're going north to Mosport.
Oh yes, Mosport.
Mosport. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so that's great.
Maybe some redemption.
Yeah.
No. We're going to Interlagos. Send Craig to Interlagos. We'll see who can actually win at Mosport.
Yeah. Hey, we'll have a fun decision on car next week. This McLaren's been treating me really well. Got me a 6 hours of the Glen win with my teammate Christian Wilcox this past Friday night. So that was exhilarating as well. It's been pretty good here to me so far. Last week and this week, it hasn't really failed me at all. It seems to be pretty fuel efficient too. It seems like the fuel saving is pretty intuitive for what you would think would save gas with the car would save gas with it. So take me up to Canada, another high risk, high reward track, and we're going to try to not break any slip angle on any of the tires at this time when we visit Motorsport. Hey, we don't have the extra hour and 15 minutes like I had the other time to try to recover it either. So
no, you don't have almost triple the time in order to recover to come back and still get yourself a podium. So you make that mistake next week, you might find yourself in the back of the pack, and with 35 drivers out there, you guys are averaging right around 37, between the 2 races. So still hitting that, still in search of the big 40. You guys almost had it last week on opening, but definitely another great showing, obviously. But yeah, the McLaren's can be a handful every now and then. It does tend to have a pretty high torque on the RPMs, where that rear end can kind of step out if you're not too easy with it. But definitely a love of mine is the McLaren for sure. I've been driving it for quite a few years now. So, but again, we want to say congratulations up here in the booth, and also give you some times for any shots you might have. And at number 88.
Yeah, a little bit more extended time this time. Thanks to you guys, Core Racing Network. It's truly this one in specific is going to be an amazing broadcast back to watch. I heard just that based on the chat that I was in that there was honestly a lot of passing, a very racy racetrack here tonight, and I think that that's going to be well represented by your broadcast as always. So thanks for all that you guys do. Shout out Jim Herrick for getting the Chris Burrell Hard Charger Award this week. 17 spots on a track like this is unbelievable, to be honest. So good for him for getting that job done, especially in the Corvette.
Yeah, definitely a good one there.
Yeah, for sure. And congrats to the other class winners as well. Mr. Tilford, another one of the core admin family, I believe. He's a good dude, and shout out to him. Glad he's with us now. Trent as well. Good moves for silver. Top 10. That's huge. My family, mom, dad, Aunt Sandy, Chris, Anna, Uncle Lee as well. I believe he was able to tune in tonight. That's great. I feel so supported and loved by all that give us a look here on Wednesday nights. TCSP, DSS, Studio 3 as well. Best of the best in my back corner. Martin PC, shout out to them. And we're gonna get on the jet, get out of Spain, and who knows? Maybe it'll go a little bit south. Maybe it'll go a little bit north. Who knows?
All right, Craig. Well, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, and thanks for the shout outs, and hopefully we'll see you next week back up here, and obviously we'll wish you the best of luck. So we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Yep, thanks. One more huge shout out, Chris Hamilton. That was an awesome brawl for the lead. Cheers, boys.
That is your winner here tonight in the Platinum Division and overall the 88 of Craig Jancic. Winner here tonight in the gold division is going to be the 12 of Dave Tilford. Dave, you come off a nice little podium run last week. Maybe, you know, just kind of getting your feet wet here in the GT3 series for CSRL. But already you almost feel a little bit more winning here in the CSRL than you did over in Core. Would you get yourself a win here tonight in the gold division?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that. The admins over at Core aren't very nice to me, so
easy,
that could explain it.
Easy.
Yeah.
It looks like we just lost Dave Tilford from the booth, so.
This is a test. This is a test.
Yeah. So what was it about the track here? I mean, you know, me and Jimmy talked about it beforehand. It's a newer track here to the service. You know, we've seen it a couple times, a little bit in Core, but you know, a little bit on CRN, but it's not one that gets touched too often. And some blind corners out here, and to me, especially kind of through the middle section there, it's really a track that you need flow. You need to stick in a certain line, and you mess up one little corner, and it could really throw off your rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I could have run the Porsche tonight. I think it was probably a little faster, but I was having trouble with that. Like every once in a while, you'd have a tiny mistake, and it would bite a little bit more. The Acura can too, but I just went with the consistent car just to be safe. Still probably not my favorite car choice. If I would have had time to like test all the cars with the new tire model and all that. But you know, we're gonna stick with what we brung, and consistency over time maybe will pay off, and that's kind of what we're going for.
Well, you almost got yourself up there in the mix to beat one of the platinum drivers on speed. You and Herbert Pineda going at it for quite some time at the end of this race.
Yeah, and I actually. Apparently, I can't tell the difference between a G and a P because I was thinking I needed to beat him to win my class.
They're both winners.
I was giving yeah, exactly. Yep. They both have, you know, round shapes and straight parts, and you know. But yeah, I was going for it, and you know, Herbert was gracious enough not to get in an accident with me. So no, it was a good time. I was having fun battling there. And yeah, overall, just kept it on track, and you know, the off tracks were kind of rough, kind of determining when to use those to get maybe a better run onto that really long straight without going over the limit. And yeah, I mean, I think I gained a lot of spots in the pit phase too for some reason, which isn't normal for me. I'm usually pretty average in my pit stop speed, but tonight kind of helped me out.
So a couple of podiums to start off the season here. Obviously, third in the first race at Watkins Glen. Now here you get the top spot at Aragon. Now you guys head back to the Americas for 3 straight races. Mosport north of the border. You got Interlagos down in South America, and then back to North America for Road America. You know, what do you think of those 3 tracks coming up here? Do you think you got a shot here to maybe get a couple more wins?
Yeah, I mean, Interlagos has never really been kind, so we'll see how it goes. We'll try to be consistent. And the other 2 I've had decent luck with, and those are good tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I think it'll be a good time.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on the win here tonight, stepping up here at Aragon. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Thanks to family, as always, for letting me do this, and for everyone that's out there racing, everyone watching out there on CRN. Thanks for watching, and you guys up in the booth, appreciate it. All the admins at CSRL as well. That's about it.
All right, buddy. Congrats again on the win. We'll see you next week at Mosport, so you can go back to back.
All right, we'll see you.
Driver of the 12 here, finishing in 8th place, but top spot in the gold is going to be Dave Tilford. Top spot in the silver here once again. Also a driver that's going back-to-back after winning at Watkins Glen is going to be the number 3 of Trent Blaylock in the silver division.
Hey, Trent, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
I got you. What's up, fellas?
Hey, not bad. Hey, you find yourself here with a great finish here again at Aragon. Obviously, getting that top spot for the silver division in 11th place. You know, out of 35 drivers, that's pretty dang good. What seemed to be a very interesting and racy track. So, give us a little rundown on how your race was tonight.
Well, it went way better than I thought. I know we practiced last 2 nights in a row, and I was the slowest guy on our team, so I don't know how I got 11th or 10th, whatever I got. But I was being patient during the race. I was trying not to rack up a bunch of X's because during practice I was racking them up pretty good. So,
I mean, during practices, I mean, that's the time to push the car to the limits, and you find out where them limits and X's are. And I know from getting a little bit of practice here prior or this afternoon, I was able to kind of see where you guys would really maybe be surprised as the speed that you would have coming down into a corner, or how tight a corner would be, almost kind of like a small corkscrew or whatnot on the track. So a lot of challenges here tonight, but you were able to walk away here, which sounds like you had a pretty clean race, and obviously it was good enough to get you a win in the silver. So want to say congratulations, and obviously looking forward to continue to talk to you up here in the booth, but give you some time for any chance you may have in number 3.
All right. I want to shout out to my wife, because without her, I wouldn't be able to do this every Wednesday night. Then I want to shout out to my teammates at Ace Motorsports. We practiced a lot, and I've never raced this track, so I put a lot of time in on this track. But I want to shout out to them because they helped me get me faster. So. And I want to shout out to Jim and Craig for hosting this, and to y'all too.
Well, we really appreciate the shout outs here up at CRN. And again, we always want to congratulate you on your great finishes. So again, congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That is driver of the number 3, 11th place finisher here tonight, but top of the spot here in the silver class, Trent Blaylock. Last one we'll bring in is going to be the driver of the 40, and not to be confused with the 4dracewear.com. That is going to be Jim Herrick. And Jim, I know they were talking for a while, trying to figure out what to call the award for the hard charger, whether they just want to call it the Chris Burrell Hard Charger Award. I don't know. You started back there in 30th. I think we just need to call it the Sandbagger Award.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, heck of a drive through the field, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, sort of how it works out. I just, not that I was sandbagging, but I had just an awful qualifying attempt. My first lap kind of it just didn't work out. I had traffic in front of me that was slower than I expected, and that lap was shot. And then, I don't know, I had a couple off tracks, and then finally went around and got like one mediocre lap in, and then binned the car, had to start from the pits. Then I just couldn't get another lap after that. I got a black flag leaving the pits for crossing the line. I just had all sorts of trouble, and so that was the only lap I got, and it was not a good one.
Well, I mean, it was certainly fun watching you drive up through the field. I mean, up 16 spots. It doesn't matter, where you qualify and how many guys are in the field. 16 spots is a heck of a lot of cars to pass. But it seems like, if you were going to pick a track to do it, there was definitely a ton of passing opportunities here. I mean, obviously you got the long backstretch that even involves the kind of the second last corner on the track there that you're still wide open. So long time to really draft somebody and get a good run. But I mean, it didn't really seem like there was any kind of bad places to pass here other than maybe the last couple corners of this track.
Yeah, it was. I made more on-track passes than I have, I think, in any race before, and again, it was the track was good for that. I haven't raced here much. I think only one race before, but it's incredibly fun. There's a lot of corners where you can race and confidently have enough room to, go through the corners. Like that last set of corners after that really long straight, you can go side by side through there. I did it a couple of times in practice, and even in the race. I think I was racing with Glenn, and we went through there side by side one time, and it's just incredibly fun, and both lines are good, and it just leads to some really good racing. So it was a lot of fun working my way up, and really probably one of the better races I've ever run, so pretty happy.
Oh, maybe that's kind of the key to this thing. It seems like there's been so many times where we've seen you qualify well, and you end up sliding back. I mean, a lot of times I attribute it to us looking at you and bringing you up on the broadcast and giving you the broadcaster's curse and watching you slide back. But yeah, I mean, you start towards the back here and you drive up through the field. Maybe that's the ticket. Maybe just, you know, kind of instead of looking in your mirror, you're just looking ahead and trying to dig and gain. Sometimes that's just what works better out for drivers.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's a lot of it, I guess, is perspective. Sometimes I think I maybe qualify above my pay grade a little bit, and then I get up there with guys who are quicker than me overall, and we get, you know, 2-3 laps in, and I start getting passed. And when that happens, a lot of times you get pushed offline. It ruins your rhythm, and things just keep going backwards from there. And yeah, maybe starting at the back is the way to go. You know, you pass some slower cars and builds confidence and things move forward. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever done this, so we'll see if that happens again.
I feel like it's kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't, because obviously, you know, you don't want to qualify back there. You don't want to have to pass all those cars because you want to be racing, you know, around the guys that are in your pay grade and in your class. But either way, yeah, you passed a bunch of them here tonight, 16 spots up, so you get the Chris Burrell Hard Charger Award here for tonight. So congrats on that. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Definitely thanks to Core for doing the broadcast, and Jim and Craig and Bill and all the admins. I know I'm forgetting some that handle CSRL. It's been a lot of fun. Just a great fun league to race in, and I'm just super pleased with the car counts. And we're actually going to do a little thing. If we can get 40 cars to race here, we're going to raffle off a pair of 4D prototype sim racing shoes. So we'll raffle off a pair after every race this season.
I'm turning my headphones.
Yeah, when we get 40 cars in the field, so we're gonna try to promote. I think we had 35 this time, so try and get 5 more in here, and we'll start giving away some free stuff. But no, just shout out to 4D and shout out to my teammate Dan. He had a rough go this time, but and everybody who comes out and makes this a lot of fun. So thanks.
I mean, Dan was one of the cars that you got to pass here on the track, so that was good on you for doing it for the team there for once. So congrats again on the run here, on the finish here tonight. And we'll see if you can maybe do it again if you want to at Mosport next week. I'm not sure, you know, how fun it was and how fun it would be at Mosport, but either way, congrats on it here tonight. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll see you up there in Canada.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot harder at Mosport, but
I would think so.
we'll go out there and we're going to give it our best shot and just see how things work out.
All right, buddy. That is your 14th finisher here tonight, but mainly the hard charger here up 16 spots, starting back there in 30th. I mean, to start in 30th and still crack the top 15 is pretty amazing. So congrats to Jim Herrick and the 40 here tonight. Great job by all the drivers out here. I know we said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, you know, 35 cars out here, and realistically, all 35 could have finished. I know a couple dipped out, you know, towards the end when they just kind of felt like they were out of it and they had enough of this track. But I mean, realistically, everybody did a great job out here, just keeping the cars clean, even just keeping them on the track, as this track can be a little bit tricky. And you know, you heard from some of the drivers, it is a bit of a flow track, and you can get off flow pretty easily here, and it takes a little bit to get back on there. So great job by everyone out there. That is race number 2 in the books here for CSRL for season number 13. Again, next week we head up to Canada to Mosport, and certainly it's a track that has been touched a lot, has been driven a lot, and it's just a tight little tough track. It's got some undulations up and down. You got the double right-hander that you have to deal with at the bottom of the hill. I mean, it's a fun little track, but I think it's more fun from maybe the booth because it can be a tough little monster there if you're not ready for it. We'll see how CSRL deals with it. See if we can hit that 40 next week as well. So and we can make Jim give out some free stuff as well. But either way, I want to thank you for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. Myself and Jimmy here for the MotorLand Aragon. We'll see you at the track.